Hi, everybody. This is Tim Kaiver doing a LitRPG Guildmasters Live with TJ Reynolds. He's got a book releasing today called Core Sworn. It's the second book in his Guild Core series. One of my favorite series this year. I'm very excited for this launch. I've got several highlighted passages from the first book that I've shared because it's just great stuff. Very well written. So welcome to the show, TJ. How are you today?
I'm good. I have my coffee, switch to water, do my thing.
So tell us a little bit about your inspiration for Core Sworn. You released another series, LitRPG series this year, right? It was all this year, Eternal Online. And now we have the Guild Core series. So what's inspired you for this series?
The Guild Core was just me returning to epic fantasy roots for sure. I tend to go, deep on world building, and I like songs. My dungeon sings a few songs. I just wanted to go quaint and rustic and fun, but then have something with big stakes too. So even though it's lit RPG, it's the gaming system exists within the world, as you know. So it's not a video game. So the stakes are high and the adventure is pretty rich and fun. So I went a little bit longer too. The first one's like 145K and the second one is 138 or something like that. I just wanted to stretch out my story a little bit and kind of, explore.
This is we're gonna do it like that. Look at that. It's pretty fat. And it's a beautiful cover for book one.
Thank you.
If you get a signed copy from TJ, you get a cool little, I don't know what you'd call that, ink stamp or.
It's a wax stamp, and thanks to Jamie Sultan inspired me on that one. I've always wanted to try it, but then he sent me his book and I was like, all right. He put I don't know where do you put a wax stamp? You usually put it on letters. I'm not going to send letters to everyone. I sent a book, so I stamped the book. Might as well.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So the main character's name is Kai, which is my son's name, and he loves that. He is so excited. I've shown him this cover, and I opened it up. Yeah, so he's going to be 7 here this month. So he's not quite this level. He reads Pixelate's Minecraft fan fiction. He and I read that together. So he's not quite at this level yet, but I opened it up and I was like, look at all the times it says Kai. And just to see his face, he loved it. So
that's cool. Yeah, I love the name Kai. It's got almost like an anime vibe to it as well. And then I went Greek or Roman, I guess. I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? With Caius. So his full name is Caius, which is usually spelled with the C. But I like Kai as like, I've played video games with a Kai before or read books. And I'm like, I love that first name. So it's kind of neat finding out your kid's you've got a Kai.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty
that
fun.
Was my German name in high school is where I first heard that. And then
really?
It's also in Greek. It looks like Kai with Greek letters. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, interesting. So we have a few questions come in the chat. You want to address? I tried to type quickly for John. He was asking about KU, and people are probably going to want to know about that.
People are already asking. Tim, what did I do? It should be live soon, guys. Jeez. Oh, I feel sick. Please be patient.
Yeah, so just a little bit. It should be available in KU. So we'll hopefully Amazon will update that quickly. And then, so hi everybody. Hi John. Hi Lavelle. Hi Stephen.
What?
So John.
How do I see
people? Let's see.
I can't even see him. Lavelle's here. Jesus.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He shows up. So Lavelle says Atlas Kane is cooler.
Atlas Kane gets all the girls. It's true.
I mean, who's Atlas Kane? Why is that even brought up right now?
Why is that even here? Oh man, that's funny.
And then paper brick is the new physical format, John says. Yes, that book is a tome. So
The only other way to make it smaller is to make tiny print. And like I know a few authors who have gone to 11 font, which I don't know, it kind of hurts your eyes after a while, right?
no, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, any smaller than 12 and you're kind of, I don't know, there's old men out there. I'm mostly there.
Yeah,
I'm coming on quick.
I read all day long, so I'm sure my 2020 is going to go down at some point. Is this 5.5 by 8.5?
Yeah.
That is my preferred format. Let me see.
Yeah, I like the book size. It's got a nice size to it. Paper brick, is that what he called it?
It's actually a little bit shorter. So here's Cypher's Quest.
Okay. So maybe it's just 5 by 8.
Yeah, but
I usually do 5 by 8.
I like that. I like that. When you read epic fantasy, you want it to be fat.
I'm used to those tiny books too. You know, the little chunkers, man. Mm-hmm. You know, they're like this big.
Yeah, that's how I read like Terry Goodkind and Dragonlance.
Exactly.
So, tell us about Kai. So you have a few main characters that you do POVs through. Introduce us to them as much as you can without spoiling it. There's kind of an event early on, and so I don't know how much.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Exposing the first plot twist, I think, is fine. So yeah, Kai in book 1, you know, he wakes a dungeon and discovers he's got dragon ancestry, which gives him the power to wake this dungeon. Some people got a little impatient with Kai as an MC, but it's because he has growth, especially since he's a young man. He starts out and he just barely turned 20 years old. A lot of people expect their 20-year-old protagonist to be like mature, witty, and have sexual prowess or something weird. And I'm like, I was a total nerd at 20, and I could barely function in society. So I think Kai shows a lot of growth. He goes from being a little bit hesitant in himself in the beginning of book 1 to even at the end of book 1, he kind of knows he's doing okay. And then book 2, he gets his swagger on. He gets a lot more powerful too, which is fun. So they both ascend. Rona and him are both. Everyone in this world is potentially what you would call a cultivator, except the knowledge of cultivation, or you know, the monk's knowledge, has been basically buried. So Rona discovers it from a friend while she's in the service and decides to sort of switch over her lifestyle to become a monk. And in order to do that, she has to sort of swear to be a defender rather than an attacker. So her class is basically, so if she picked up a sword and went to go attack someone without cause, she would lose her class skills. She cannot attack with a weapon, and she cannot be an aggressor. So, but then she still takes place in number 2. We get a nice juicy battle right off the bat. And of course, she kills people like crazy because they're trying to invade. So monks are bloody bastards, but they have codes to go by, you know? And then that brings us to Rona. I think Rona's really awesome. She's a spitfire. She's also deeply passionate and just cares a lot about people. She's my favorite. I really like her. I kind of have a crush on Rona.
She has a beautiful scene where now I'm starting to second guess myself if I should spoil anything, because I don't want to. But she's talking to her dad about this decision. What do you think about that? Is that an off topic? We don't want to mention that, or
no, it's fine.
Tell me a little bit about that scene and what you loved about writing it.
That was actually an added scene, man. I was gonna sort of skim through it a little bit, and then when I had her like enter her dad's house, I was like, oh no, this needs to happen. Yeah. And it's interesting. I sort of tried to put her in my shoes had I a father like that. My father was never in the military. So I almost, Dristan, her dad is actually a little bit like me if I just let myself go and was the jerk that sometimes wants to come out, you know? So he's abusive and he's angry and he's mean and he doesn't really care about anyone but his pain. So he's in a lot of pain. So you can kind of pity that, but he's not necessarily a redeemable character because he hasn't chosen anything good in life. So that scene was all about her just putting her foot down and saying, "This is the life I'm going to lead." And of course, he's used to using his physical strength to get his way, and she basically beats his ass in a half second without really even going there. She just sort of blocks him and cracks a rib, and he gets knocked down. And he's like, "What?" Right? And she's like, "Dude, don't touch me. I'm gone. Goodbye." Because she's had this abusive relationship her whole life, and she's finally done with it. And she even there's a moment where she sort of communicates silently with her mom, and her mom makes the decision, "I'm staying with him." And she's like, "Fine, you have that right. Goodbye." So I really respected Rona for walking away. And it's easy to say, "Oh, the mom is so weak," but that's just how most people operate. Most people wouldn't have left their husband, right? Yeah. So it happens all the time. So I just tried to root the characters in a reasonable and believable sense of trauma, because that's what happens in military life. You know, he saw too much and did too much and lost too much and broke because of that. So, yeah.
Well, it's typical TJ. There are a lot of emotions going on.
Yeah.
Very well written. And Gabe Morse says that was, let me see.
Yeah, what's up, Gabe? Woo!
He says that was one of the more memorable scenes, so he enjoyed that. Do have a couple of questions here. Let's see. Lavelle says, "How many words do you write a day?" He says your production is insane.
Well, TJ Reynolds is a slower writer, for sure. TJ Reynolds writes like I don't know, 3 to 5K a day, and Atlas Kane sometimes goes up to 6 to 10K a day. It depends on the book. The Guild Corps, I'm slower, for sure. There's more background details to manage. So I can't like write 2 or 3 chapters in a row. I have to sort of write one chapter and grind it away and then go over it. So yeah, I don't type very fast. You've word sprinted with me, right?
Yeah, barely.
I'm 40 words per minute on average, but a little bit slower, I think. So I do the best I can. I did just go full time though, so that's nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I quit my teaching job, so hopefully you guys will be seeing even more of me.
Wow. So is that new for the new semester here? Is that how that
works? I'm not going back in spring, mostly because they also wanted me to go full online with Zoom, and I suck. I mean, I'm an in-person guy, so I told them I was going to come back as soon as we teach in person again. I teach at a local college, so I really like the students, but not if I can't see them. There's no point.
Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you full time, and I'm excited for you. That's an awesome accomplishment. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So there's another character. Did you mention Ban in your introduction? Tell us about Ban.
Ban, or short for Bancroft, is if you took a dungeon core and wrote it from Jane Austen's perspective. He's stuffy as hell and quaint and probably the most popular character I've ever written. A lot of people like him. And he was based off of my my British grandma. So she's not with us anymore, but she rocked it until she was like 85. And she's the one that, okay, so raise your hand if you've heard A Lovely Bunch of Coconuts from Lion King, right? Remember? Zazu sings it, right?
I'm not sure.
No, he said, "I've got a lovely bunch of coconuts, diddly-dee, standing in a row, big ones, small ones, some as big as your head," right? Yeah, it's The Lion King #1. And when it came out, I felt famous because my grandma had been singing that to me for years. It's an actual British song. It's so old and stuffy. It's hilarious. It would be like us singing a 1920s like commercial tune or something, you know, like a show tune. But she was really funny. But in like, oh dear, I can't believe you dragged in the dirt with you, right? She would get upset at social situations, but then still had this constant thread of irony and humor going throughout her life. So Ban is really funny and sweet and dorky. Yeah, he's great. So
So there is so John is teasing you. He says not Lion King. He says it's Monty Python. So
no.
where did it come from first?
Oh no, I don't think it came from Monty Python either or Lion King, but it was in Lion King. Zazu sings it when he's trapped in the rib cage.
So that's probably Monty Python ripping on it too.
Yeah, I'm sure. But I think the song was much older. My grandma hated Monty Python. She thought they were quite absurd.
Nice.
Yeah.
So John wants to know, or I'm sorry, Gabe wants to know, what did you teach?
Oh, English, kind of predictable. I would have been still probably happily rocking that job, but it's really hard to get a creative writing job. So usually it's like a desirable position because you get to teach fun stuff. And so then a bunch of old stuffy full-timers get those jobs. And then so I've been trying to get that job for 8 years and I can't get a class. So I teach English 100 over and over and over, which is sort of fun, except most people don't give a crap.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Not one of my favorites.
But yeah, English, man. Clean up them commas.
Yeah. So what's your plan now that you're going full time? What's your release schedule? And if you want to talk about any of your friends that you know, like Atlas Kane or other pen names, or I'm sorry, I meant friends that are also releasing books that you would recommend. What are your plans and their plans? How's that?
That wasn't conspicuous at all. So I'm going to start writing Guildcore 3. I actually have a surgery coming up, so I'm going to give my mom a kidney. Yay, that's going to be fun. But that's probably going to delay Guildcore 3 by a little bit. Still, it's coming out at the end of March. I don't think that's too terrible of a wait, so hopefully everyone can give me that time to throw it out there. It's probably going to end in 3. I really wanted it to be a 5-book series, but the budget on per production is very difficult. And if I do books 4 and 5, I'll basically just be bankrupting myself, which is fine. I hope readers understand, but I did come up with a really good arc. And if there's good response to books 2 and 3, I have the second arc already planned. So I would love to write 3 more Guildcore books. It just depends. I've got another cultivation series from TJ Reynolds that I'm going to start working on as soon as Guildcore 3 is done. And Atlas Kane is a busy boy. I've got Wyvern Academy that I'm still finishing up, which was a fun project with Grayson Sinclair. He's my buddy. And then, but I'm starting a new project that's really cool. I think you guys are going to like it. And it's tough because I almost wanted to do TJ Reynolds with it, but it technically will have a harem element. It's just going to be quaint and almost appropriate harem. Like it's going to be fade to black, a little bit spicy, but nothing explicit. And the focus is on adventure. So it's called The Towers of Akalia. My first big announcement of that. And it's cultivation, tower climbing adventure where the guy, dies and resurrects in the body of someone else in another world. So I'm halfway through writing the first book already. It's so much fun. So I'm just sort of sprinting through this one. Yeah, it'll be ready in January.
Nice.
Yay.
Well, we're excited to have you, TJ. There is a quote. So I went through and just pulled a quote from Guildcore 1. Let's see. Would you like to read it? You want me to read it? Or you want to read it?
I'll read it. I don't know.
Okay, let me see.
I don't know if I can see it though.
I'm sending you a message right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Kindle's feature, how you can share a quote from a book.
Oh, and you've been taking good advantage of that, man. That's cool.
So one of the things we like to do with the LitRPG Guildmasters and the guild is to build up the community and build up the authors and appreciate folks that putting out books every 3 to 4 months is really hard. And like you said, going into book 4 and 5 could bankrupt you. So it really does help the authors to support the books early on so that they know if they can afford to make it a bigger series, and sharing wherever you can does help. So one of the things I've done is if I'm reading it on Kindle and I like a passage, I'll do the share function, and just kind of brings it out a little bit. Were you able to see that post, TJ?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, go ahead and read
You
that.
ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is Ben, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So you're going to do it in your English accent?
Yeah, but I'm going to try and hit Steve Campbell's English.
So, yeah, so Steve Campbell.
Kai like this. He said, dragon scales, Kai. Spell scales, to be precise. One of the oldest traditions of the dragons was how to pass on their knowledge to a younger generation. Learning the complexity of a single spell can take a year or a century. Spell scales enable dragons to imbue one of their scales with hard-earned knowledge and pass it on quickly and efficiently. I hope I did Steve justice. Steve's pretty good. He obviously did the narration for book 1, so I think he's pretty talented.
Yeah. So the reason I highlighted that was I just thought it was really creative and fun. The idea of the spell scales. Anything you want to add to that as far as what we can expect if for folks who haven't read Guild Core 1? What was fun about the spell scales, the dragon scales?
Yeah, so I to me, and a lot of people in this genre, it's all about the progression. So I just wanted to have the main character leveling up in various ways. It's cultivation, which means the leveling system is slower than LitRPG, just in general. You're not going to get them to heavenly ascended divine creature status in book 1, right? He does get some good growth, but I wanted the spell scales to be a fun kind of quick way for him to upgrade his arsenal. So he and there's limits to that, of course, and he only has so much mana. It's got its own system, although the system does tend to be a little bit less crunchy. I wanted it story driven. So the spell scales were fun. They kind of burn into his skin, and then he can command that spell at will. If he has, there's casting times depending on the spell. Some are instant, some have charge times. So, and cooldowns, just like any other RPG. So, but yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, well, good job on that.
Book 2, he gets a few more tricks too. It's pretty exciting. And Kai's got a glaive, so if you like pole arms, I had to force myself not to write another pole arm. They're so fun to write combat scenes with, right? Have you done one? They're useful. Mm-hmm. You can stab, you can slash, you can block and do blunt strikes with the staff. And I'm like, it's the most versatile. I've never fought with a glaive myself. In fact, I've never done sword fighting either. But as a writer, there's just hands down, it's more useful to have a glaive. Make it less boring and less repetitive as you're, I brought my axe down and I chopped, and then I chopped again, and then I sliced sideways, and I chopped, and I hacked. Yeah. Axes are cool. I love axes. I'd be really good with an axe. Probably clumsy with a glaive, but just saying.
I wonder. I want to talk to Jez sometime. Do you say his last name Kaijo? I don't know how to say it.
Don't ask me that. But I know he's a great guy. Yay, Jez.
Yes.
Or is it Yez or Jez? I think it's probably Yez, but
sorry if we got it wrong. Anyway, I remember him in a comment on his book, and I think there's a glaive or a pole arm than his, and it sounds like he actually has done that martial arts, like he's practiced. So I'm like, okay, well, good job, dude. So TJ, thanks for coming on. I know you've got somewhere to go. anything else you want to mention as far as what's going
Yes,
on with you?
it just went on to KU.
Oh,
It's
nice.
live. So I'm so sorry. Please forgive me and download 6 copies and tell your friends. Yeah.
If you could figure out how to do that, but we didn't break any TOS on that. So, well, thank you, TJ. Tim Cadaver. What is that all about, Lavelle?
Jesus.
All right. I think we got all the questions. So thanks everybody for listening. TJ, congrats on your release and your career going forward. We love you and have a great rest of your day. Pray your surgery goes well, and we're here for you.
All right. You're the best, Tim. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good day.
Bye.